Today's guest is Ashley Verse. This man has shot Stormzy, has shot Jason State, has been on tour with them. He actually shot some of Stormzy's first ever videos. He's basically shot anyone in London and in the UK scene that's worth seeing. And by shooting, I don't mean gratata, I mean so yeah, me and him met a long time ago, maybe like 4 or 5 years, and he's just been someone that's always been on my radar and someone I've enjoyed seeing grow. So I hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you do, rate it on Spotify, like it on YouTube, etc., leave some comments. So yeah, let's get into it. Welcome, Ashley Verse.
Hey, thank you for having me, bro. Thank you.
Pleasure, man. We, me and you actually met years and years ago.
Yeah.
It must have been at the Be Easy shoot properly.
Yeah. No, I think that's the first time we've had like that level of interaction. But then we've definitely met like through all the guys, through Nabdul and stuff like that. But then I think that was like I got to see how you work. Yeah, it was sick. It was sick, man.
Yeah. That was on the
Mastermind.
Castro's. Thank you very much. That was on the music video. Yeah. That was a good time. That was years ago now.
Yeah.
Like 2017 or 18, something like that. I don't even remember.
Yeah, something like I think it is 17.
Yeah.
But I mean, that really made me understand, like, especially you building the rig,
yeah,
the red gel. I was like, this guy's a master.
Thank you very much. Yeah. That was definitely a highlight. Do you know what? And to this day, like, there's footage from that video that still makes it onto like show reels and stuff.
Sick.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah, that was a good time. 2017. Do you know I was going through your Twitter and that was 2017 is when you got your first billboard with Chip.
Oh my days. Yeah. Mad.
How do you think that changed your like perception of photography? It's like, wow, now it's like, do you feel like that was like a big stepping stone for you?
100%. I think there's definitely like loads of moments where I'm like, okay, it's getting more real, like, or it's making more sense. And I think that was definitely one of them. A lot of that time before then, I was just doing so much events and concerts and stuff like that. And I love doing it. To this day, I actually still love doing concerts and stuff like that. But I realized that for me, there was a limit on the opportunity. There was a limit on how far those concert photos could go on one side. And on the other side, it was kind of like harder to get opportunities outside of doing concert photography, because obviously if that's what people can see you doing, they don't really imagine that you can, shoot in a studio or do these things. So I had worked on a few things with Chip, like we did press shots, and then it kind of grew and to the point where he was like, I want you to shoot this cover. So to see it on a billboard, I was like, I was gassed. I was super gassed.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, big one, because also, I mean, I don't know, like in photography, obviously when you first start off, like I watched like an interview of you where you talked about when you first started off, you didn't really think of it as a career.
Yeah.
So like money and stuff, when you first starting off, it's so vague. You don't really know what happens. So was that like the first time where you sort of like understood like usage, like on like photography and money?
Yeah, I think I started to get an understanding of it, and even then, it's like how applying your understanding.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah.
It's a whole different thing. So I think I'm still learning to pick my battles, and I think it's always been a case of picking your battles. Like, we know and understand usage and know that there's a lot of different things that we should be getting paid for, but you can fight those battles until you're blue in the face, and with some people or with some entities, it just means that they won't ever come to you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I think you have to pick and not cut off your nose to spite your face, or not give away the world for free, but find the right balance, which means that you're getting somewhat what you deserve, and you're not selling yourself too short, and you're not cutting yourself out.
Yeah, of course. And also just like for the like people that are sort of just entering like the industry and stuff.
Yeah.
Can you like in the most sort of basic sense, explain like what usage is.
Okay, so obviously once you say you do a shoot, so you have done a portrait shoot. So let's keep using Chip. Um, worked on like press shots for him and stuff like that. And then usage will be obviously how he wants to use those images. So he wanted to use one image for his album cover. An album cover is something that is commercial because you sell the album. So once something is used to, in a sense, make money, like sell a product, whether it be like a shoe, an album cover, a t-shirt, I don't know, like, or a campaign for, I don't know, Sky Scanner, whatever that may be, once it relates to some product or some kind of monetary value, like making money, when the company's making money of it, it's commercial. And really and truly, there's lots of different types of usage that comes under commercial and non-commercial. And you should really try to charge for those things. So somebody wants to use it on a billboard, you should get money for that. It's called out of home. Somebody wants to use it on their company website, you should be able to get a usage fee for that. And obviously, normally companies will want to use it for a range of things. So you kind of calculate a usage fee or try to create a usage fee that includes a few different style of usages, and then that is really where you kind of start compromising a bit, because then it's like, I don't know, it's like someone buying a package deal. So you're not gonna like build them individually for each type of usage. You'll put together something that you feel is fair, and that hopefully they feel is fair, or they're willing to part with, and you get paid not just for doing the shoot, but for how your images from the shoot are used.
Yeah. It's big, and to be honest, it's like in video is like very different as well, because it's like it's very hard to get to that stage of getting like usage in video. In photography, it's very different because there's a lot more sort of product photography or stuff that's directly related to the actual sale of the product. In photography, it's super important to sort of like understand how that works. Obviously, like you've done a lot of stuff behind camera, but in the last few years, you've like made sort of the not transition, but I'd say transition to like step in front of the camera a lot more.
Yeah, 100%. Blame Cass.
Yeah.
Blame Cass.
Yeah. Like what sort of was that like a conscious decision, or like?
It kind of was a conscious decision, and I mean, I guess I was always thinking about how do we profile ourselves, like as like people that work in the media, people that work with cameras and stuff like that. What we're doing is not necessarily a limelight role. Like, it's not something that people are normally very reserved, and normally like, even like when people do concerts, basically, for instance, we're told to like wear all black, you don't be seen, you like, it is we're meant to be mysterious.
The shadow.
Yeah, we're very much hidden in the shadows. And I think I just wanted to see how I could profile what I do more, and be able to push that and be able to have an emphasis on it. And especially as kind of like, there was a few years with Instagram and stuff where I feel like we were having our moment, and like media side of things that was really being seen. People wanted to know, okay, who takes the photos, who does the videos, who does that. So I kind of wanted to make a conscious effort to be a bit more in front of the camera. And it's kind of a lot of why I try and take the pictures myself as well, so that it marries the two together. So that, like, as well as me, I'm profiling myself, I'm actually still setting the lighting, I'm still doing the work, I don't want to lose the foundation of like, I'm still a photographer.
Yeah, that's your number.
So I don't want to lose that part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, and speaking to like the guys, like my friends like Cass and stuff, they were like, you need to do it. Like, there's so much things that go out creatively, and like it gets lost as to who's worked on it, who's done what, and you need to be able to put more of a stamp on it and make sure that the traces can come back, I guess, once it goes out there.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of also like companies see a lot of value in it. Do you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of other photographers out there, and quite often like they get their they want to buy the camera that their favorite photographer uses or whatever. So like it's no surprise. I mean, like you worked with like Nando's, with Adidas, with Adobe recently as well. Like so, it's like a good endeavor to sort of just be behind the camera, obviously do your job, but then like step in front of it, so then people know like. I mean, especially like now we live in an age where basically like like your personal brand can be just as profitable as like what's happening on your actual business as well.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So yeah, how I mean, you've basically taken like images of everyone that's like worth knowing about in the London scene, in the UK scene. Has there been anyone that's like sort of like really made an impression, you like really made a difference on how you think about the industry?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I've taken a lot of different lessons from lots of different people. There's artists that you see they're really tight knitted with like certain friends and stuff like that. Like when you really get into their team is either like their family or friends that they've known for years. And even like I think that is it can be either so strong or so temperamental, because you really have to understand your people and how you put them into position. Like I love my guys, but I would know that, I know your flaws. I know you're always late. You can be a bit indecisive. So it's like having that understanding when it's your career. How do you then put those friends and family that you love so dearly into the right positions so that you can make sure you all sharpen each other and go up, and that the whole thing doesn't come down.
Yeah.
So I think I really love to see that side of it when it works, and it's like, oh my, like you've managed to really make this happen with all your close people around you, and they're all playing a role that they actually love, which allows them to do it in the best way.
Yeah.
And I think that part is so important. That part is so important, the role part, because when you love to do it, you'll do it to the best of your ability. Anything else I've seen, or even with myself, like if I'm doing something that I don't really love, it starts to feel like a chore or a bit of a favor, and I'm like, I drag my feet with it a little bit, and I'm like, nah, okay, cool. I have to love it. So when everyone plays a role that their heart is really in, everything just runs so much better. So I think that is a big inspiration that I've taken from like a lot of artists that have great teams.
Yeah, it's massive. Like having like a strong team around you is like unbeatable. Do you know what I mean? Like
100%.
having like that sort of like lone soldier mentality is fine and is important, but like there's nothing better. Like we're social animals. Do you know what I mean? Like we love like just having good people around us, because then like people keep us accountable. Like also you want to impress the people around you. Also there's like friendly competition as well. Sometimes like you want to keep up with like everyone. You want to keep up with everyone around you. So yeah, really important. Oh, I want to speak about the Mike Gala. Like,
Yes.
Yeah, Big Mike.
Sick, man.
How did that go? Like, I've always like, cause just like talk about it a bit, because I know Mabdul did his tour a few years ago. So
yes.
So shout out Mabdul, and like
Shout out Mabdul. I saw him yesterday.
Oh really? Yeah. He took. When he speaks about Stormzy, he's always kind of like in awe, like how much effort he put into everything, and like how much it all went into like the whole spectrum of everything he does. So yeah, I'm just interested to see like how that whole thing went.
Do you know what? That's something that I've always respected about Stormzy. Like I I started working with him years ago on music videos. So probably like, I don't, maybe like 10, it's over 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
And I did his first couple music videos. I wasn't really like, I wasn't doing photos yet really. I wasn't really offering that as a service. Well, I didn't really do it. I started out making music videos. That's where I wanted to go first. And then I kind of got into photography. But at that time, it was like a lot of hood videos and stuff with other artists. And I was studying media in college and stuff. So you start learning about treatments and da 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 da. While I'm doing this, I start writing them and no one wants to read them.
Yeah.
The other artists I'm working with, they're like, nah, like, just leave me on my block at 7. Like, I'm gonna bring out the man them, like, couples. And I was like, this is getting really like, I'm kind of getting tired.
Yeah.
You know, I'll leave them to upload it now. I'll stop uploading it on my YouTube, and then started working with Storms, and Storms like really wanted to like sit down and do ideas, and you know we don't have the budget for a lot of things. Like where me and him are really just, you know, he's starting to take music seriously, and I'm just starting to get into media where I don't know, like not even 20, I don't think. So we don't have the capital to create like crazy videos, but we want to do the best with what we have. And I've seen him carry that from then to now. So like Madul says, he really does put a lot of thought into everything that he does, and I think now obviously he is in a place where he can like execute his ideas with a lot more finesse.
Of course, he's got the backing now.
100%. So doing the gala was very full circle in that respect, and very sick. It was an idea that they came to me, but I actually had a treatment that I'd been sitting on for ages with a lot of the same references and stuff on. So that made it so much easier for us to work on it, because as soon as they approached me and said that this is what they want to do, I was like, oh, I fully understand you. We didn't really have to go back and forth on much, except like just getting the right equipment so that we could, you know, achieve the look that we were going for. But it was sick. It was sick. Such a sick experience.
Yeah, it looked very good. I didn't actually know that you did like videos for Stormzy like early in the day. How did you and him like get in contact like in the beginning?
I think I DM'd him on Twitter maybe, but this is like, I don't know, 2010.
A long time
like
ago.
a long time ago. And so he, you know, we were a lot more accessible. I was kind of local to him as well, so that was like a benefit. We had like a little working relationship then. So I think I'm just happy that over the years, as he's excelled and become, you know, the superstar that he is, that I've also managed to excel, and I can still like be of use when he needs me. You know, I think, you know, that is that's the kind of beauty of it, you know, where I'm growing in what I'm doing, he's obviously growing in what he's doing, and we're both definitely focused on our own journeys, but I'm glad that there's intersections where we can just work on sick stuff like that and have those moments.
Yeah, that's nice, man. Yeah, it's really nice. Like especially like you said, like the full circle moments when you've been working for someone for ages, and then you come to see this like big fucking just like gala where everyone's dressed up nice, all the people there. What do you think is like what is next for you? Like where do you see yourself going? Do you have any plans for like the future in terms of like how you want to go about photography in front of the camera, behind the camera? What's the
I think I'm in a stage where I don't know the answer to that right now. Which I don't know. Well, not knowing the answer last year would have made me go mad. Like I did feel like that last year, and I did feel like it was affecting me a lot, like not knowing really where I want to take things, or how do I get to the next step? How do I break through the ceiling that I might be at currently? Because it becomes a pressure, innit? That's the thing about like freelancing or doing media as a whole. There is no like official hierarchy. There's no set thing, or there's no like you do this, then you get here, then you do this. There's no like promotion. There's no,
Definitely not.
there's,
Definitely.
no,
Yeah.
there's no one waiting to tell me what my next job role is. So you know we've got to figure it out. But there is a blessing in that because we've always been working in the realm of we do what we want to an extent. I do want to do more editorial stuff.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of being able to like create more in the studio and work on press shots, editorials, campaigns. Part of me still wants to do shows.
Yeah.
But like I said, I am kind of like concerned about the limit. Like I do think that, you know, and it's not like I think clients limit you and think, oh, you take shows in it, so yeah, you can come to the show and that. But like, you know, when it's time for my album, I'm gonna go this way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, I'm gonna do your show and my album.
Yeah.
Like,
The whole thing.
Give me it all.
Yeah.
But I do want to kind of like focus on the portraits a little bit, and I think that might help me to narrow down and just have some direction. But I don't know. I'm trying to stay open. People will ask me about video again, and I'm like, I think that one's a bit nerve-wracking as well.
Yeah.
Because for me, I'd be starting video again. It's not like picking up where I left off. And, well, picking up where I left off is literally like 10 years ago. So, you know, it's not in the same space as where I feel like my photography is.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be sick at photos and then start putting out some shit videos.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, no, put that down, bro.
Stick to photography, bro.
Yeah,
Stick to photography, bro.
Stick to photography, bro.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like now you're in a good place where you can, like, you don't need to be holding the camera if you're doing video. Do you know what I mean? Like you can just take like a director role and like come up with the concepts and like the vision and whatever, and then actually get people to just like, you know, like make it look good. You know? I feel like that's sort of like a natural progression, really.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, talking about promotions or whatever, like the only real progression that I've seen in this sort of industry is like, you start off taking pictures or like videos or graphic, whatever you do, and then you do that for a bit, and then you sort of grow in the industry and maybe do some sort of stuff in front of a camera like you did, but then you start being more of like a strategy / director where you sort of like start hiring other people like to do like the little details where maybe you did once upon a time, but now actually you're like taking sort of like a higher view of everything. So you're the one that's like, you know, speaking to like whoever it is, like say Stormzy or whatever, like you're doing a music video, like you're not going to be the one that's like filming it. You're going to have like a team of like 50 people, like, and you're like making it happen. Do you know what I mean?
I hope so.
Yeah. It's very possible. Like it's very possible. Like, I feel that that's the only real progression that happens in that industry where it's like, you don't really, like it's not a promotion, but you sort of just like, you just understand how everything works a lot better. So, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What's been like your worst experience with like photographing someone? You don't have to name names.
What's been my worst experience?
Yeah.
I was meant to shoot someone once. I remember. I feel like this was the one. This one, it was always in my head. I was meant to shoot someone once, and they were like hours late, like 5 hours late. Or it got to that long before I was like, nah, I can't sit here and wait anymore.
Yeah.
But it was for a brand. I was working for a brand at the time, and I left. And that brand was kind of understanding about it, like, yeah, no, cool, yeah. But they were also like, but we're gonna book it in again. And I was like, and they booked it in again, and it was like, please, like, don't leave, innit? Like, no matter what, don't leave. The artist was definitely 5 hours late again.
Oh, my God.
5 hours late, but they came, they turned up, but by that time, like, I was so like, it felt like I did 2 clicks and left. I was just like,
I don't care.
Like, I didn't
feel disrespected.
I
Like.
did.
Yeah.
to this day, I don't let them book me again. Like,
Yeah.
I can't lie.
Oh, that's
Then-
not that bad. That's not
It's
that
not
bad.
that bad.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. But it made me write them off.
Yeah,
It made
yeah.
me write them off. I'm like, I can't.
Yeah,
I can't.
yeah, yeah.
Like, I can't. I do think there is instances where, you know, being in that position, like artists being in that position or whatever, the kind of like pedestal or and the things that come with artistry, they don't. Sometimes sometimes people don't respect photographers or videographers or runners or people within the industry that aren't another artist and I think like that kind of hierarchy game, I don't really like to play it with them. I don't like, you know, I think we work with so many different people and we work with so many different people who come from so many different backgrounds, who do so many different things, and even like, not that even this should be the point, but you don't know who anyone's going to be in the next 10 years. Like that person who's the runner today is going to direct in the next But even like that isn't even the sole reason as to why we should just move with respect. But I just think when you don't have that respect for people's time and like you're gonna get caught in that in that bravado of I can do what I want, like because I'm an artist or whatever, you kind of lose something. And then there's a lot of artists who still will have that integrity about them, and there is something that as to why everyone's drawn to them, and most of them seem to have that integrity. So I really think it does set the artists apart.
And I couldn't agree more. There's like, and it makes such a difference when you work with someone that like respects you, and like, you know, takes the time, or like if they're late, they actually apologize or whatever, or they pay on time.
Yeah, my favorite.
So I've had just, and also like it's the artist, but it can be the team as well. I've had like some bad run-ins with like where it's like you almost can't even blame the artist because their team is just like,
that's crazy.
Like so unprofessional. They're like turn up late. They're like, but the thing is, you know what? It bites them back because like this one specific, like I'll tell you who it is after, but like you just do a music video, you put so much effort in. They're like, they don't pay. They're like, the whole thing goes up in like in smoke, and then they blame it on you. But the thing is, it's like now, like people, everyone on that shoot like starts to hate that person.
Yes.
And then the industry is not big. Do you know what I mean? It's not that big. It's tight. So now everyone sort of like knows, don't really work with that person because like it's going to be stress. So yeah, like I remember like 2 years later, that artist like was needing like a music video, and like they were like struggling to find someone to do it, and like someone reached out to there was a guy that was directing with me, and then he was like, don't work with them, man. It's like, so they were like struggling to find anyone to like do their like stuff for them because they just like built such a bad reputation of just like just being so unprofessional. And it's just like, it's karma. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. Like,
it really doesn't. It doesn't matter. And do you know what? I think I know who you're talking about.
yeah, we'll see. Yeah. But, man, there's stress. But that's part of the industry. It's part of like it, you know, so much of it is experience, like taken, you know, from like step one where you just pick up a camera and like you shoot some like random guy to then actually moving the ranks up through an industry. So often you find out that people can be in positions that they just one way or another they just ended up being there. They don't actually know what they're doing.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And quite often that's the way they express that is with like this weird sort of like a bravado where like they because they don't know what they're doing, so they kind of feel insecure about it. So they're kind of like a bit more rude and a bit more like jittery about the whole like interaction. So it's definitely like a learning experience, like this whole industry. Man, I was gonna ask you, like, it's quite a sort of a basic-ish question that creatives get, but like if you were like to start photography today,
Yeah.
and if you hadn't like picked it up, like what would you do differently, or would you do anything different for how you did it?
Oh, what would I do differently? To be honest, I think I would be a bit more serious. I would be a bit more serious. I do think, like it was exciting when I first came into the industry. Like everything was exciting. Doing the concerts and being like at the front of like a show and being like in between the artist and the crowd, and the occasions of getting to go on stage maybe and shoot certain things. And I think, I don't know, like the lights, camera, action of it can get to you. We get excited, and I think I wish in some situations that I just moved a bit more serious, a bit more diligent. I think I try and apply that now, and I still don't want to lose the fun because it is part of why we do it. But especially when people are hiring companies or person to person, whatever it is, I want them to know that I take what I'm doing serious, and that I want to bring the best out and out of that situation or out of that opportunity. And I want to create some things that are going to last and have longevity. Like growing up and looking at pictures or looking at music videos, like back in the day, they felt so relevant. Like watching a video, the impression that it left with you lasted for years. Or if you think back to like some artists in America, and people say, I don't know, Tupac or DMX, there's iconic pictures that come to mind for those artists straight away. And I do want to get back into a realm where we have that now, and that we can, because I think the attention span is a lot shorter now, but still I want to be able to create stuff that really has longevity, and people can look back in 20 years and be like, oh my days, yeah, nah, when I was like 17, I went to that show and da-da-da-da-da, or they remember like how vital a moment was in like UK music history and things like that. So I think I would just be more serious, and like know that even though like it's a sick environment, it's fun, don't get caught in all the fun and games of it. Like there is a bigger picture than the one that you're taking just right now.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that is. Yeah, it's vital. Like I think the people's like attention spans are shorter, but good stuff lasts. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes you don't know if it will initially. Like it's kind of like that's something that just like it happens over years. It's like certain pictures just stick, for whatever reason. It might be, you might have just taken a picture of someone and they might like die the next day or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it could be their last ever picture, but you don't know. So sometimes it's just like so much of it is just being there and just kind of being the vessel for like whatever you're doing, whether that's photography, video, or whatever, music, like I feel like I had this girl Anna on here, and she's a music artist, and she was just like like my best work comes out when I feel like I'm just like a vessel for just like ideas, and a vessel for to just kind of like not God, but like I guess like a muse, like to speak through her, and she's just doing it. Do you know what I mean? And it's just putting yourself in that position. And I guess like being serious about it can like make a big difference on how like your path through the sort of creative industry like goes.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. I mean, like we said already, I didn't think it was a career when I first started doing it. I didn't I didn't really understand that I would be able to do this like 10 years later. And now it is 10 years later. I'm like, okay, like, this is why when we came in, we saw all the photographers that were a lot older than us and stuff like that, because you can actually have those lengthy careers like in doing this if you shape it in the right way. But it was fun for me at first. Like I loved the shows, I loved the music like so much. And and taking pictures was like my way of being involved. I just felt like, I felt just as involved when I was taking pictures. I was like, I'm the fan, but almost in my head, I'm like part of the show, and I'm just like caught in everything. But you know, I'm not as young anymore. I understand my role better, and I still want to capture that vibrance, that feeling of like being a fan, and so that when you look at a picture, you feel like you're part of the show, or you're getting that POV, that real feel of the performance. And even if I'm not doing that, if I'm in the studio and creating a mood and setting a tone, I want something to be felt. But yeah, I think even like how I'm talking about it now is just there's so much more intention. I just want to go to the show and have fun and take sick pics. So yeah, it's just, I think that changes. I think that grows with everything over time. Like I think even yourself, when you go to watch something now on TV or you go to watch a film, there's 20 different things you look at rather than just watching the film. Like something dumb in the scene will grab you and be like, raw, that light there, or this set design. And it's like, you know, your mind just grows into what you're doing and the things that you take in. So everything is just so much more intentional. It's way more intentional.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's, as you grow through it stuff does become more intentional. Because you sort of understand, because in the beginning it is exciting, it is whatever, but you understand over time. What do you think is like, obviously, you know, you've worked for like 10 years, more than 10 years, and you know, you've come with contact with lots of other creatives as well, like lots of photographers, videographers, and you know, there's like some people make it, some people don't, some people just sort of like stay and like, you know, they flatline quite early on. And some people obviously progress. Like, is there anything you've noticed, like a characteristic or anything about people's character, that defines who like makes it up to the top, and who doesn't?
In terms of the photographers?
Yeah, can be photographers, just any creative.
In terms of the creatives,
and actually music artists as well.
I think, speaking for like the people who kind of work behind the scenes, like, or like basically like the photographers, the videographers and stuff, I think a lot of the ones that kind of like flourish, they're really personable. They're really like, they've got a character about them that stands out. Like when I think about like Mabdul and Vicky and stuff like that, like their character, as well as obviously being able to do the work, their character has helped them build so much rapport with the clients that they have, because they're just nice people. And I think that helps so much, especially when you can build real, genuine relationships on that. And people love the fact that you actually do the work, you create great work, and you know, you're a good energy to have around. It just makes everything smoother for them. It makes people's days better. And in a world where we select who we work with, everyone wants to have the best day. They want to have the smoothest day. They want to get things done to a high quality, and they want to work with good people. So I find that, you know, having that energy about you, having that character about you, paired with being able to do the work, means that those people, they excel and they get more opportunity given to them.
I think it's it almost like is like like a step above the actual stuff that you make, is like your character and how like you're able to like speak to clients and how you're able to make people feel. I think especially as a photographer, because like there's such a big part of the job is actually communicating with either the talent or, you know, the client or whoever it is. So I think, especially for photographers, but to be honest with anyone else, like videographers or whatever it might be, like communication skills, I think are like 100% like at the top. Way above technical skills and like, but your actual work, like, because I've seen people that might not be amazing at photography or amazing at video, but like because they know how to speak to clients, because they know how to manage expectations, because they know how to make people feel good and make them feel easy throughout, they'll 100% excel than people that are just good at taking pictures or but they don't really know how to like have that proper conversation or how to like make people feel good about themselves, or it's like it's massive. It is massive.
it
Yeah,
is.
definitely.
It is. It's very much like it's very much a communication industry, because even like even no matter like the medium, no matter the art form, it be in the music, it be in the video, it be in the photos, like everything is communicating something, and if you can't make all those things relate, or like just work in harmony, like make sense of each other, yeah, it kind of flops. It kind of flops. Like, you want to understand that people can see your vision, and understand you a little bit, and they're like, no, this person's a nice character. Like, I want to have them around, especially when it comes to, I guess, I've had the opportunity to like tour, for instance, and in those spaces, you're so like close together. You have to kind of be tight knitted. You're all I know for like the next 2 weeks, really. It's just gonna be shows in and out and on the tour bus. So if you can't build that rapport, it kind of does crumble.
Yeah, who have you been on tour with?
I've toured with Chasing Status and I've toured with Mabel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. Chasing Status. What was that like?
It was sick.
Yeah.
It was sick. That was my first ever tour. So shout out to them for that. I really appreciated that because I never really had the experience of touring or like shooting back-to-back shows like that. And they kind of gave me my first opportunity to go and do that and really see some things on a bigger level, like the production levels that they were working at, and the level of show that they were putting together. They were headlining festivals and things like that. I didn't have the experience beforehand to know what goes into that, and what needs to come out of that, like in terms of photography.
Yeah.
But they just let me kind of grow and get loads of experience from doing that.
Yeah. And how long is the tour?
I did a few of them because I did a few of their like summer festivals, and then they had their own actual tour where they were doing like where they're doing like shows and like in like O2 academies and stuff like that, or even bigger than that. But they're doing like proper headline shows. But then they've also got their festival bookings. Being Chasing Status, they also DJ, so they would have their DJ bookings. So it was so like the range of different things that they would ask me to do was sick. It was very widespread, but it gave me so much experience as still quite a new photographer in a short amount of time. So yeah, I think that kind of shaped me a lot and gave me at that time a lot of direction on what I wanted to do and how I wanted to maneuver like through concert or live photography.
Yeah, and I think also just being surrounded by people that like are serious about their craft. Really like it really like does something to you where you feel something. You feel a part of something bigger than just taking pictures, like you feel like you're really providing a lot of value for people and like capturing like moments that are really important. And of course, on top of that, your work is also making other people money, so that's nice, yeah, definitely. Last question. What's the biggest bag you've got from a job?
Yeah. It's about 8K.
Yeah.
It's about 8K. And that was including it's the usage, man.
Yeah, it's the usage.
The usage.
Yeah.
They really racked up because of the usage. And I think like somebody helped me negotiate it at the time, and I think that was a real benefit. I think sometimes you have to reach out to other photographers, and like sometimes it is good to because I don't feel like this is happening anymore. But it is good to learn from the older photographers, and they, do understand the nature of the game and how to set up business things. Because I think a lot of us now, we come in and we want to be creative, and that is obviously our biggest focus. That's the foundation of why we're here. But then there's so much that we can lose out on when we don't have the business acumen and we haven't got that side of things patterned. And I do believe that some companies can see when you don't have those things patterned, and lo and behold, they take advantage of you.
Of course,
man. I think the negotiation on that one really helped me to secure that 8K, and that was a blessing. And to be fair, it was quite an easy job. I was like, it was surprising to get that, but thankful. Still thankful.
I'm glad. Yeah, sometimes they are. The easy jobs, sometimes they're the ones that pay good. And I think. Have you ever? Because you're fully like independent, aren't you? Are you part of any?
I'm still independent. No.
Have you looked at like signing with an agency, or have you had like talks with like any?
I was signed to quite an independent agency in like 2018, and I was over there for like a year, but then I haven't been signed since, and I'm still trying to. Have those conversations about maybe having an agency and stuff, or signing to an agent. But I think I feel like right now my portfolio is changing a bit, and that is probably what it is. But I think even though I'm not signing to an agent, I do want to still sit down and get some advice from them so I can understand. Just so I can understand all of it. Like I want to understand their role a bit more. I want to understand what might be missing from my portfolio, because I think that's one thing that you don't want to do is get signed into an agency. You feel like they're meant to do this, and that, and then you feel like maybe they're not hitting it, but your understanding of their role might be wrong. So I fully even before building that or getting into that relationship with an agent or an agency, I really just want to make sure that I understand how they work and what they're meant to do for me, so that I'm not solely reliant on that, or I can hold them accountable for the right things and I understand their role. So I think it's a process.
Oh yeah,
it's definitely a process.
And like really and truly, like we're still young. We're still young in this industry. Like, there's a lot. Yeah, I mean, you see, like really the people that are doing the big stuff are just the ones that have been doing it longer. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's not really that complicated. It just takes more time to figure out how stuff happens. Sick, man. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming on.
Bro, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, Coco.
Pleasure.
Hey, it's always a blessing. Always a blessing to link up with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Come on.
Lovely.